Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nothin but Net, where we talk all things and everything basketball. I'm Ritham.
And I'm Koll.
And today we're going to be doing something a little bit special. We're going to be talking about basically the unexpected future stars of the NBA. So basically, we're going to be going off the model of like a Jalen Brunson, a Jalen Johnson type player where people saw like before they became bona fide stars, like we saw flashes from their games, but they weren't really the number one option. They weren't really a bona fide superstar, all-star type player in the NBA. But nowadays, we're looking at Jalen Brunson as a top 10 guy. We're looking at Jalen Johnson as a perennial all-star number one option on this Hawks team. So right now, Cole and I are going to be naming some of our players that we can see, that we see flashes of today, that maybe not be expected to turn into stars in the future, but we think certainly that they will turn into molds of stars in the future. So, Cole, I'll let you start us off with this one. Who is your first unexpected star of the future, you would say?
I'm going to go with Kon Knueppel of the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets this year have, especially recently, been one of the best teams in the league, which is something I don't think any of us would think we would say this late into the season. But it's true. They've had one of the best records. They're shooting the ball really well with LaMelo Ball, Kon, as I'm about to talk about, and just the other guys on the team. Brandon Miller. That's what
Brandon Miller.
Yeah. But Kon himself, he's been crazy good from behind the 3-point line. He's shooting right now 43% in his first year in the NBA is crazy. And he's averaging what some of the most made threes per game, just a little bit under 5, which is fourth in the league, which is just wild for a rookie. And again, he's one of the reasons why the Hornets are as good as they are right now. Yes, they're only at 500, but their last 30 games, they've only lost 10 of them. Even now, on their
especially in 2026, I think they've had the best record in the NBA in the calendar year 2026. They have been on a roll this season. So, cool. What do you think about if the Hornets make it out of the play-in, right? Because I think the play-in tournament is perfect for a team like the Hornets. So if they make it into the actual tournament playoffs, what do you think about a run for them? You think that they're just a Pistons, Kings type first-round exit, or you think that they can maybe make a Pacers, not Pacers level run, but a sleeper run in that?
I don't know. It depends who they play in the first round. I think, if they're going, well, actually, if they're gonna, it depends who they play in the first round. I think most likely they'll play Detroit or Boston, but they could play a New York or a Cleveland. I think honestly, the team that scares me the most if I'm a Hornets fan is probably the Celtics. I think the other teams are beatable in the playoffs, or they're not as they're just not as beatable, or the Celtics are just not as beatable as the other three teams I mentioned. But I think it'll be a close series, but I think most likely they're gonna be like a Pistons last year, or a Kings a couple years ago, more than a Pacers from last year.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And you were talking about how the Celtics are probably the most beatable, most unbeatable out of them all. But also, I'm interested to really see a Pistons versus Hornets if they play in the playoffs, because the Pistons could be a really interesting team on upset watch. I know we put them as one of our contenders last week, but anything's possible in the NBA. So they could be they could be a clear-cut contender one week and a fraud the next. So if the Hornets made the the playoffs this year, I think that would be the team I would like to see them face. But as far as Kon Knueppel, everything you said about him is crazy. It's just true, right? He's one of the best shooters. Probably, I think he beat Keegan Murray. Shout out Sacramento King Keegan Murray. But he beat him for the most 3-point record, for the most threes made in your rookie year. So this guy, he and LaMelo look like the reincarnation of Stephen Clay, and the Hornets, coached by Charles Lee, are looking amazing. And there is no doubt in my mind that a Duke 5-star prospect, that dude is going to be a great star in the NBA. So that's a great pick by you, Cole. I'm gonna go with my first guy. I'm going to pick another guy. Actually, no, he wasn't from the same draft class. He was from a draft class the year before. I'm going to go with Matas Buzelis from the 2024 draft class. He's on the Chicago Bulls now. And I'm not just saying this out of recency bias because obviously, yeah, Bam Adebayo dropped 83, but on that same night, Matas Buzelis dropped a sneaky 40 bomb on Golden State in a win. And I know he came from G League Ignite, right? So Jalen Green came from G League Ignite, right? Scoot Henderson came from G League Ignite. G League Ignite has not had a good track record in the NBA. Like, Cole, I don't mean to be disrespectful whatsoever, but Jalen Green and Scoot Henderson have not been living up to the expectations that were put out for them before the draft.
Yeah, especially Scoot. Especially Scoot.
No, yeah, especially Scoot. But that's been a common trend for G League Ignite players coming out of the Ignite, right? And that's why they had to shut it down, and players are going back to college and overseas and all that. But Matas Buzelis, talking about a guy who's 6'8", who can move so smoothly with the ball, who was projected the number 1 pick before the draft. He can shoot the ball really well. He's playing with facilitators around him like Josh Giddey. Now he has a Jaden Ivey, who's not the biggest facilitator, but he can pass the ball. Same with Rob Dillingham, right? Now he has guys who are just feeding him the rock. Vucevic is gone, taking all the shots from him, and the growth that we're about to see from Matas Buzelis in the next couple of months, couple of seasons, it's going to be phenomenal, right? I think his ceiling is to go to the moon, because not only is he a smooth guard that can move like Paul George, like OKC Paul George, the way he was dribbling like Kyrie at 6'9". Obviously, Matas Buzelis isn't that smooth, but he has kind of traits that flashes that kind of remind me of that, and he has the defense to go along with it, the shot to go along with it, and just the overall fluidity with the ball. I really like Matas Buzelis as a player, and that 40 bomb really, like, I'm not trying to say it like that 40 bomb just made his entire career, because like Malachi Flynn dropped 50, anybody can drop 50, right? But nah, like that really opened my eyes to him, and I feel like he can be one of the next great stars in the NBA, and he's from Chicago, so
right. And like with Buzelis as well, I'm pretty sure like last year, like a lot of people were kind of clowning him because he didn't have a great rookie year.
oh no, yeah, no,
But this year, like he's definitely like stepped it up a little bit, and I think it helps that the Bulls were able to move away from like all the guards they had. Kind of, I mean, they still have a lot of guards on the team, but I think
like they're younger.
Yeah, they're younger, and I think it gives Matas like more room to kind of show what he's made of, which obviously he has in the last couple of weeks and during the season mostly.
What do you think about the Bulls as a sneaky playoff team next year?
Next year, it's possible, but I don't know. I would like to see them get an upgrade in the front court mainly. I think that's kind of their main hole right now on the team. But I think
that's what they should target in the draft.
Yeah. I think that's what or even in free agency maybe, if there's a guy available that kind of fits what they're looking for. But I think they could be. I think a play-in team is definitely a possibility. A top 8 team, it's more of a stretch. Even like being a play-in team,
it's just gonna be the Hawks and the Raptors in the play-in invitational again.
Yeah, and also with the resurgence of the Hornets this season, and
the Raptors.
Yeah, and the Heat being good still, and the Hawks being good. Like I don't know. Like the East is packed right now. It's honestly like starting to get to like where the West is in terms of talent and how everybody is pretty much good.
Yeah. And Ant Edwards is going over there in 3 years. You see the reports about Minnesota going to the East if Seattle and Vegas come to the West?
Yeah. That'll just make it even crazier, man. Minnesota's in the East. Memphis, okay, well, not really Memphis, but Minnesota as well. It's just gonna get spicy if that happens.
100%, yes, sir. Cool. Who's your next player, you would say?
I'm gonna go with Deni Avdija, for the Portland Trailblazers. So he's kind of been the last few years kind of an under the radar-ish type of guy, but this year he's really had a great year. He's one of the reasons why the Trailblazers are kind of flirting with a play-on spot right now. He's been consistently just shooting the ball really well, getting just like he's just a great forward. If I'm being honest, and like the Blazers have like benefited a lot from him. As I said, like they're flirting with a playoff spot, which in the West is definitely like a good thing with how competitive it's been the last few years.
Stacked conference, by the way.
Yeah. And it won't get much easier with the teams below the Trailblazers like getting better as well, like Utah. But
Mm-hmm.
right now, Deni is definitely the main wheel driving the Trailblazers to and kind of willing them to get into the playoffs potentially for the first
Yeah.
time since Dame was on the team. I guess the last time
Mm-hmm.
he was on the team, technically.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, to play devil's advocate, I feel like Denny has had a great year this year so far, but he'll drop 25, 6, and 6, right? And it'll be a great stat line, but it'll just be the most least impactful 25, 5, and 5. And I saw a tweet about that, and I'm quoting the tweet, so I'm not about that. But if you watch him, like, he'll drop most of his points first, second, third quarter, but the fourth quarter will come and the Blazers won't win the game. And that's why they're stuck in the 10 seed spot, which they are winning some games. They are in the play-in in a stacked Western Conference, so props to them, right? Minnesota's almost in the play-in, and they're really good. So that's not a detriment on their team, the fact that they're in the play-in. But also the fact is he's not really contributing to winning. He's kind of getting his numbers and dipping.
Yeah.
But he has had a fantastic year, so I have to give him credit for that. No politics involved, but yeah,
like,
no.
Also, he is like still a young guy. He's 25, which is, he's not ancient yet, but he's kind of getting older. But like I'd expect him to, get better in the next few years in clutch time and in the fourth quarter where, the game really matters.
100%. 100%. So when you look back at that draft night trade that they made where the Wizards traded Bub Carrington, the 14th pick for Deni Avdija back in 2024, Cole, what do you think about that in hindsight?
I think it's worked out for the Blazers. I don't know so much about the Wizards because we haven't really seen much of Bub Carrington like yet, but
especially now with Trae Young taking over.
But with Deni, it's definitely worked out for the Blazers. That's all I can say right now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I agree. So I'm gonna go on to my last player. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the big bad in the East, Boston Celtics, and we were talking about last episode. They had the departure of Jrue Holiday. They had the departure of Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis. But in the absence of Jrue Holiday, Payton Pritchard has really taken a step up. Obviously he doesn't bring the defensive impact of Jrue Holiday because who could? He's probably the best defensive guard of all time. But the point of the matter is Payton Pritchard has really embraced a ball dominant role. He's been the second option next to Jalen Brown when Jason Tatum was out. He's been a real point guard that this team has needed. You know what I mean? They had Malcolm Brogdon, they had Marcus Smart, they had Jrue Holiday. They've been really looking for a long-term point guard. And Payton Pritchard was on that team the entire time. He requested a trade back in like 2022, but look, they had him stay the course of his time there, and look at that. Now he's the starting point guard. He's doing great things there. He's averaging almost 20 points per game. And I want to highlight one thing about Payton Pritchard's game that I really think that I believe, like, oh my God, this guy's gonna be a maybe not a superstar, but definitely an all-star, right? Is the fact that I was watching today's game versus Phoenix, actually, Boston versus Phoenix, and Cole, do you remember like I think it was the Eastern Conference Finals versus Miami when Jalen Brown would just like dribble all over his left hand and turn it over a bunch of times and Boston lost? You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so funny. But people meme Jalen Brown because he could not dribble the basketball, and the Celtics did not have a real ball-dominant ball handler, just some guy who could take care of the rock and give it to your best guys in Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum when they weren't clogged up and contested. Jason Tatum genuinely similarly had that same problem, maybe especially in the finals versus the Mavericks, you know what I mean? In big playoff series, he sometimes crumbles because he struggles with ball handling, and same with Jalen Brown. But I was watching the game versus Phoenix today, and Jalen Brown was bringing the ball up the court, and Haywood Highsmith poked the ball out of his hands, almost scored a layup. He got fouled, I think. Then Jason Tatum bring the ball down the court. Haywood Highsmith poked the ball out of his hands, went up for the layup, got blocked by Jalen Brown, but still, the fact that Jason Tatum had a turnover in that play is an indictment of something. And now they had Payton Pritchard bring the ball up for the rest of the fourth quarter, no turnovers from Boston. So the fact that they have a secure ball handler who can, and Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown were scoring all the points in the end of that game, but the fact that they had a guy who could keep the ball in the Celtics' hands and just slow down the game so that they could get their best players the ball, that's such a valuable skill set in the NBA, and that's going to get him to an all-star status and have a long career. So I'm really excited to see about the future for Payton Pritchard. And that dude can shoot.
Yeah, he can.
He can shoot. Yeah.
So Payton Pritchard has kind of just been this guy on the Celtics the last few years when they went to the finals and lost, and when they won, and also when they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple times. He was kind of just at 3 and kind of D guy. He wasn't really known for his defense, just known for making really long 3-point shots. But the point is that like he come off the bench, give you that energy, and allow you to shoot the ball, and he can shoot the ball really well, and just allow you to rest you guys like Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, and just help get the team to keep going and score. But now that he's kind of with Drew Holiday being on, he's kind of stepped into the 3-and-D role, I guess, and he's become a lot better player in the last few years.
100%. And that's a really valuable skill set, is to be able to secure the ball and shoot good and play good defense and get the ball to your best players. That's like, we're acting like that's a scrub skill set, but it's actually a really good skill set to have. So cool. To end off the episode, who would you say is your championship pick? Let's do this every week from now on.
I think last week I said San Antonio. I'm still going to stay with that.
That's a good pick. I'm going to say Boston. I'm going to stick with them because, they got some dogs, they got some vet experience, and Jason Tatum is back. Well, appreciate y'all for watching this week's episode of Nothin but Net. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree with us, or if you have any other players who you see flashes of who you think will turn into stars in the future. And we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.